Hi, welcome to Andy's Trains. Here we are doing another video. Hopefully we can be successful, as we usually are in my videos. Repairing today an E-unit. I've had a lot of requests from various people to demonstrate how to clean, rebuild an E-unit. It's probably in the post-war era, it's probably the one item that most people repair, even the professional repair guys as well as the amateurs like me. It's one of the nightmares of repair, because it's a finicky little item. It's an ingenious item the way it works, and I'll show you all of that. But it's a little tedious to put all the things together and actually have them fall into place so that you could squeeze the casings closed. Anyway, this one was sent to me. I actually have two. This is the better of the two, but two was sent to me. This one is in really bad shape, which I'll show you later. We may do that in the future. But this one here, I've hooked up to a spare motor that I have, just so that I could demonstrate to you that this does work. Although it doesn't work well, it needs to be overhauled, and we're going to do that. But I wanted to show you that this E-unit has a good coil, and I've tested both E-units that my friend Russ, a good member of the Toy Train Hall of Fame, by the way, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. But anyway, Russ sent these two E-units to me so I could utilize them for this video, and we will show at least one of them. So anyway, not to delay any further, I'm going to try to make this as short as possible. Right now I have, as you can see, lots of wires, and I have it so that I hooked up this E-unit to this horizontal motor, which you usually find in the older F3s and so on. I think before 1955, I think 54 and earlier was horizontal. After that, they were vertical. In any case, this is a Lionel motor. Don't remember where I got it, but that's not important. So I hooked it up properly via my little alligator clips to the E-unit, and now it's sitting here, E-unit motor, as if it were in an engine. So let's see what happens. I'm going to I have my transformer turned on. I don't have it on very high, about 12 volts. The motor is sitting on a couple of blocks, because if we don't set it on a couple of blocks, the armature will hit the top of the table and not spin. The motor will just bounce around. Okay, so I'm going to take my positive lead. We're already hooked up my negative lead from the transformer to the body, to the casing of the motor. The casing of the motor is then hooked up through this red wire to the casing of the E-unit. So we have a ground as if it were in the frame of the engine. Then we have the various wires coming from the single finger at the bottom, which goes to one of the brushes on the motor. Then we have one of the fingers on the three-finger piece that goes to the other brush. Then we have the next wire, the middle wire, going to the where's that going? That's going to the coil of the motor, the field. And then we have, last but not least, we have this, which is a green on the opposite side, the last of the third wires on the three wire fingers. This one here is going, anyway, this one here is going to the field. I hope I said that correctly. May have been a little confusing. In any case, all we have to do now is simulate with this positive lead as if the roller on the engine is picking up the center rail positive voltage, and voila, the motor should run. Now I'm going to hold the motor just so it doesn't go flying around, and I'm going to put this on where the roller would normally be wired to. You can hear the hum, I think, of the E-unit. Let me turn off my dehumidifier so we can hear this a little better. Okay. When I hit it again, it should start running or not. Now it's running. I think you can hear the motor running. There's neutral. That should be going in the opposite direction, and it doesn't, because the E-unit has a problem. Most likely a drum and or finger problem. However, neutral, forward, neutral, reverse doesn't work. So we know the coil is good, which is great, because if the coil is no good, we wouldn't be working on this at all. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off my transformer, and I'm going to take all these leads apart. Maybe later I'll be able to put them back. I'm sure I will. Anyhow, we're going to take the leads off of the E-unit. Probably just leave them on the motor for now. Push all this motor stuff aside. Okay. Now we have the E-unit. You're probably wondering, what's this gizmo that I have holding it? Well, this is a great little tool. This is what I call my third hand. In some cases, it's my fourth hand as well. As you notice, it has two alligator clips. And in order for E-units like this type to work, they're gravity fed with regard to the plunger and the pall. Okay, the plunger is inside of the coil. It's a rod, steel rod that's inside there. And then on the end of that plunger, there's what they call a pall. It looks like a hook. And every time, whenever you turn on the transformer and juice is applied to the track, the motor, the engine is sitting on the track, this coil gets energized and it pulls up the plunger. The plunger has the hook attached to it. That hits the drum inside. There's a little drum like this one. This is a mess, but you can see this little drum. This one's just really filthy and broken and everything, but it has little teeth on the side of it, and the hook pulls the drum up just 45 degree, and voila, the contacts are in the position of either forward, neutral, reverse, or neutral. That's the four positions that the drum has. So the engine is either going to just sit there if it's in neutral, or it's going to go forward or reverse, depending on what position it is. So every time you hit the direction button, what you're doing really is killing the voltage to the track. When that happens, the plunger drops down. The plunger drops down, and the pall, the hook, drops below the next little tooth on the drum. You let go of the button, the track is energized again, pulls the plunger up, the plunger pulls the pall up, the pall pulls the drum another 45 degrees, and you have action. And that's how it all works, okay? And the reason why, like I said, I put it into this little holder is because if I had this thing laying on its side or on its back or whatever, it wouldn't work. Now there are some various types. There's several different types. Let me show you. This is, by the way, my trusty. I've had this book forever, and it's a great book to have. They come with different covers on it from, there's a couple of different people I think make the same book. Anyway, I bought this, I can't even tell you how long ago. But they have several different types of E-units, Lionel. And they have some that are, they actually have a couple that are made to work horizontally, laying down, okay? But if you have one, let me take this out of the clips. If you have one that's laying down like this, horizontally in the motor, in the engine, and they do have them. They don't have this little lever on it. It's a different type of setup, but it would lay down, and the pall and the plunger, the plunger would actually have a spring, like you have in a ballpoint pen. The plunger would have a spring because gravity, in this case, gravity pulls the plunger down with the pall. That's how it works. No electricity, boom, falls just by gravity. If you don't have gravity working for you, if it's horizontal like this, then you need something to push that thing, need to push that plunger downward, if you will, or to the left, and have that little pall hook under as it would if it was vertical. And then when you apply the voltage, it pushes it up again, and the strong the spring has just enough tension so that it allows it to be pulled up with no problem, but yet when there's no power, it pushes it down. However, we're going to work on this one. There's absolutely really no difference with regard to the guts. The coils are the same. The fingers, there's what they call a one finger on the bottom and a three finger on, if I put it this way, the one finger is at the bottom and it's horizontal, and then there's what they call a three finger, which really is four, but there's only 3 wires on it. So you have that one standing vertical and the one horizontal. Between all those wires, it hooks up the way we see, and it works beautifully. Okay, so let's get to it. Now, if you don't have this tool, and I recommend that you go get one. This is a tool specifically designed. It was actually a Lionel tool. Okay, this one is a repo. I wish I had an original, but I don't. But this one is the tool that I use to pop these sides, these 2 sides open. Okay, you're not going to pop them, like huge open and rip them apart. You're just going to pop them open enough so that you could take out the fingers at the bottom, you can take out the drum inside, and if you have to, you can take out the other set of fingers that are up closer to the coil. All right. We're going to pop this open, and we're going to see how good or how bad this thing is. Now, try to be careful with the wires that are already soldered to these finger sets, because, man, they're not easy to, if one of these comes off, it's not easy to put back on, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to be as careful as possible, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. I turn it over, and usually they have this little vise that they sell. I believe it's about $65. And you could put this in the vise, and it has a little screw and a spring and so on and so forth, and it sort of holds it for you. So that's your third hand, similar to this thing. Only that vise holds it so that the sides don't blast out and they have pressure on them. When you put everything back in, you can tighten the pressure a little bit more, so it makes it easier to get everything in place before you snap it closed. Because if they're not in place, you can't snap it closed. And that's the most difficult part about this thing. So anyhow, I'm going to turn it this way. I'm going to turn it like that. So the front of it, what we'll call the front of it, where the wire is popping out here, is facing up. And that's where I'm going to put just above. There's a space right here. I don't know if you can see it. I'm sure you can. There's a space right here. That's where I'm going to put this tool. And notice it's slanted. Okay? So we're going to put this tool in here, and hopefully without too much trouble, I'm going to be able to pop this open. You put it in on a slant, and then you crank it, and it opens up the frame. As you can see, this fell right out as soon as the frame opened up. Okay, our drum. Woo! Now we know why it doesn't go in reverse. Look at that drum. I think you could see that drum. It's black. Looks like a piece of coal. Anyhow, it's pretty dirty. We'll see if we could salvage that. Now, the 4-finger set did not pop out, thank God, because that's a pain to get back in, although we could do it. But since it didn't, I'm examining the fingers and they look good. There's one finger that's sort of out of place, but let's see, it's not even one that's used actually. Yeah, it is. But anyway, it's out of place slightly. We'll fix that. It's very easy. They're a little bit dirty, but not super bad. Okay, now we have the pall here, and let's see if we could do this. Yeah, it's clean. The pall is beautiful. Okay, so we're lucking out with this one because the pall and the plate, everything, it just slides so nicely. There's nothing wrong with it. I will clean it. I will spray it just so it's clean. But there's no sense having to open this even further to get that out because it's really good. It's in good shape. I know it's difficult for you to see in the camera here because if I do close-ups, it's not going to help. But as you could see, this it looks pretty clean. Okay, so let's put this aside for a second, and let's look at the fingers at the bottom. Yeah, they're in great shape. They're not even out of whack. They're bent perfectly, which is going to give us a little challenge to clean them without whacking them into a different position. But you can see they're dirty, but they're in good shape as far as position goes. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so we're going to clean these, and let's get to it. Let's get to it, because I don't want to waste too much time. Promised you I'd make a short video, and you always make it long. Okay, so I get my little... Now, I don't want to make the same mistake I always make by calling this stuff carbon tet. It's not carbon tetrachloride. That's been outlawed. We all know that years ago. I mention that because I have an old habit. I used to use this when I was a technician many years ago in telegraph, believe it or not. But anyway, this stuff, that carbon tet, as a matter of fact, in that book, it actually calls it carbon tetrachloride, which is, like I said, no longer used. But this is an electronic contact cleaner. And this has 3 different ingredients in it, which I cannot and won't attempt to pronounce. So, but this one, we can use it, I think, without getting too much cancer. So, here we go. It is highly flammable, just like the old stuff. But anyway, we're going to spray this a little bit. And let me move that aside. And then I take my Q-tip very lightly, very, very lightly. Okay? And I clean the contacts. Now, a lot of guys will just change these things. And there's nothing wrong with that, changing them. But I'm like, well, why throw something away that is still good? So, oops, that's not what I want. Where is it? Where is it? Where's my little... I use this. Okay. This is nothing more than a popsicle stick. Okay? Popsicle stick is just about the right thickness to put underneath this shield. See, there's a shield here. And then there's the fingers on the other side. So I put this right between the shield and the fingers. And it's perfect. It's perfectly spaced. And then what I'll do is, so this way when I use the Q-tip to clean these, you have to be careful not to bend them. Okay, so I hold this together. I hold the shield and the popsicle stick together like that. Okay, and then I will spray some carbon tet in here. Sorry. See, I did it again. I called it carbon tet. It's not carbon tet. It's electronic cleaner. Please, don't send me any letters or hate mail. But I am now cleaning this finger up nicely. And I think this is going to be good, real good. Okay, that's real nice. A lot of this work is tedious, but I don't mind it because I enjoy it. I know that when the end result comes out, it's going to be great. Okay. So, I don't know if you'll be able to see it well enough, but these fingers are quite clean now. I don't know if you can see that, but the fingers are quite clean. Okay, so we don't have to put a new set of these fingers in there. The wire is still the length it's supposed